We begin tonight with Paul Ullucci along with Bayview runner Stephanie Beaudette at the recent New England Indoor Track 2-Mile Championships. Stephanie finished 12th. She was the second Rhode Islander to cross the finish line in a time of 11:27. Paul and Stephanie, welcome to Varsity Life. How are you? Good. Nice to see you. Let's begin with Stephanie and tell us a little bit about your athletic story and what sort of success you've had at Bayview and what led you to Ullucci's.
Well, this past fall, I started cross country, and I had high hopes for the season. I was hoping to finish in the top 7 in the state because I had done that the past 2 years. Mm-hmm. And in the second dual meet, I stepped on a root and I injured my arch in my foot, and I went to Ullucci's, and that got better. But then one injury just led to another, and I had a very rocky fall season. So I just had to sit that season out, and then I got referred to go work with Jason, who works at Ullucci, for strength training. And that I thought I could step up my training a lot and get faster with the strength training. And then I went into the winter indoor track season, and I had a pretty successful season for not running in the fall, so I was happy with that.
Paul, talk a little bit about the relationship you've had with Stephanie, and it seems like there's a couple of different things going on here.
Stephanie came to us with a plantar fasciitis or pain in her foot, and that's a pretty common injury in running. And then we started getting her over that condition, and she developed some problems in her hip and her back, and a lot of it had to do with core stability and core strength, and needing some improvements in that area. So we sat down and talked to her mom and talked to Stephanie, and we kind of came up with a plan to attack the indoor and outdoor track season rather than really having to sacrifice the cross-country season. So we were able to get her on a strengthening program with Jason Price, our director of strength and conditioning, doing a lot of the exercises that you'll see later on in the show that really will focus on increasing the strength of her quads, her hamstrings, and her glutes, as well as her back, at the same time developing speed and power. What's key is that most people who think of cross-country runners don't think of them doing Olympic lifts, but it develops tremendous power and strength. And Stephanie and her mom and I were talking earlier, she was only training 20 miles a week or 26 miles a week during indoor due to the trying to slowly recover from the injuries. However, by adding the component of strength training, we jacked down her time by 10 seconds, and that's a huge drop, 10 seconds, with that little amount of time.
Sure.
It's all Steph's credit, of course.
Prior to going to Ullucci's, did you do any weight training at all?
No.
What did your workouts consist of?
I would do occasional abs and push-ups, but I never did anything like Olympic lifting before. So this was all new to me. So
basically your workouts consisted of going out and running, right?
Yes.
And trying to get faster that way. So when they told you, listen, if you start doing some of this type of workout, you're going to get faster, do you believe them?
I was a little skeptical at first, but I was open to the change, and it turns out that I really enjoy the time that I'm spending in the gym with Jason.
How often are you there?
Right now I do 2 times a week.
Right.
Which is. So,
and you're still doing your miles out in either cross country or out on the track. So what is it? Is it kind of a 50-50 balance, you think, of your workouts between the weight training and the actual running?
I would say so. Usually the 2 times a week that I'll go, it'll be after practice, and so I'll usually spend an hour and a half there, which is pretty good amount of time.
Well, earlier tonight we had you show us one of your workouts with Jason, and Paul, why don't you kind of take us through it and tell us exactly what's going on as we kind of roll the videotape here of that earlier workout.
Well, one of the big things with cross-country and distance running is that they have to develop a lot of strength in their hamstrings and their glutes as well as their quads. And a lot of runners forget about their glutes and their hamstrings, and this is an exercise, this deadlift, is developing the strength in her glutes and her hamstrings as well as her back. And of course the back is where a lot of the female runners and male runners hurt themselves when they are competing. Now she's going to do a power clean right now, and I do want to note for Stephanie's pride that this is about 40 to 50 pounds lighter than she normally does, but for purposes of not destroying the set, we were using
we appreciate that.
So, but she's got excellent technique, and I think the big thing here is this is an explosive exercise, and people don't think of distance runners as explosive athletes, but boy, at that last second of that mile, it's big. It's very, very important to have that big explosive power to draw upon that well.
Paul talked about the fact that you shaved 10 seconds off your time. Are there other areas in your performance during a meet that you've seen improvement?
Yes, I noticed that, well, my form is a lot better than it used to be. My coach used to always tell me to use my arms a lot more, and I definitely am now, now that I am stronger. Mm-hmm. And also, I feel like I have more of a kick at the end of the race instead of just dying off. I feel like I can stay with the other runners when they pick it up at the end. So,
is there an end to her relationship with you, or is this something that she needs to continue throughout her running career?
Well, I think any good runner will tell you that weight training is an integral important part of their program to keep them successful. It's going to keep them healthy, it's going to keep them moving forward, and it's going to keep them from getting stale from too many miles on the road.
Right. You had mentioned that she has shaved 10 seconds off of her time, which is great. Realistically, as she gets a little bit older and continues with her workouts, is it realistic for her to expect the time to get faster as a result of these workouts?
Absolutely. Absolutely, and that's
what's the goal? I mean, obviously you have to have a goal, something to shoot for, right? And what is that goal now?
Now you're looking to break 19 seconds is what we were talking about earlier, right? Is that 19 minutes?
19 minutes in cross country, which would be 30 seconds.
Right, that's great. So the season is underway, the outdoor season is underway now?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about how that's going for you.
There hasn't really been much happening yet. We've had one dual meet. And it was not that great. The weather wasn't that great.
What is great weather? I mean, tomorrow is supposed to be like 85 degrees. You don't like that.
No.
You probably don't like the real rainy stuff. So what's perfect running weather?
Probably around 70 degrees, light breeze, not windy. So.
Yeah. Hey, thank you very much for joining us, Stephanie, and of course, Paul. Good to see you again, and I'm sure we'll be seeing you before the high school season is over.
Absolutely.
And best of luck this season.
Thank you.
All right, we have more Varsity Life coming your way right after this.